speaking to the family right now, they're in disbelief. They're they're feeling all types of emotions that I can't even begin to try to understand, because that's just, I don't know, man. To lose someone of when they're fighting for your country, and you know he comes out and speaks up on being sexually assaulted, and then a week after he's gone missing. Something's up. There needs to be an investigation. And when we talk about Black Lives Matter, these are the little things that we are talking about right here. Why is there not an investigation? I don't care if it's the army. I don't care what it is. There needs to be an investigation when something like this happens. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that in 2020, a young man can get hanged. And the first article that came out at 3 o'clock in the morning from Boston Globe was there was no foul play. That he was the one who did it to himself. 25 miles away from the base. He drove 25 miles. Far too. Look.
And he didn't drive because from what I read, I think I saw they found his car somewhere, if I read correctly. So you can't just rules or say he did this. From what I read, his car was somewhere with his belongings and stuff in it.
Yeah,
something because he was packing a move or something.
Packing up because he got it. He had got in a new apartment and everything. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Nobody deserves that. Nobody in the world deserves that. And you said it, Mike. When you hang someone, you find someone hanged, there's a message that's trying to be said. What kind of message are you trying to send here? What is that message?
Yeah, rest in peace to him. And again, prayers out to the family, friends, loved ones. I know, Marv, you connected with that family as well. It's tough times, whether it's big time in the media, celebrity or something like that, or somebody you may know personally. Like, it's crazy times right now.
It's wild, man. That's why, like you said, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we talk about 2020. Hopefully, we're just talking about 2020. Because I don't know how long this can last. Yeah, before we all just go crazy.
Yeah, man. 2020's been a year of different things happening. Aside from people losing lives in different ways, shapes, and form, another thing that has taken place is the fact that there's still police brutality and injustice taking place in this world nonstop that we see all the time. And last week on the show, we spoke about Jacob Blake in Wisconsin being shot several times in the back by a police officer, point blank. And that had people outraged, even following up that initially happened. And what had people outraged even more is the fact that, thankfully he survived the shooting, paralyzed from the waist down, but he was in the hospital bed, laid up, paralyzed, can't move, just been shot several times, gone through different surgeries and whatnot. And law enforcement still found the need to have him shot to his hospital bed.
Where the hell's he going?
Well, a man who's that information came, he's paralyzed. And obviously, if you're in a hospital with him, I don't care if you're doctor, family, police, you're probably getting that information that this man is paralyzed, can't move, can't walk, can't go anywhere. But it came out in the news that police officers, law enforcement had him shackled or handcuffed while laying in the hospital. With that part of it, still, this whole story itself had people outraged. And the outraged these NBA players, most of them already pissed off with everything happening in the world. That the day after, literally the day after we had our show, that Wednesday, the Milwaukee Bucks, who, in Wisconsin where everything took place, Milwaukee Bucks decided to boycott their playoff game. And that sparked just a huge ripple effect.
Huge ripple effect. We spoke about it on the show that, if they wanted to make a stance, this is what they would need to do. Something big like this.
Bucks boycotted their game. Other teams boycotted their game. And the NBA just went across and said, we're canceling all the games for today. Then WNBA canceled games from today. Then I think initially players within the MLB said, look, we're not playing. And then teams were like, look, we're standing by our player. I know Mookie Betts and the Dodgers did. Mookie Betts said he wasn't going to play. And then the Dodgers came on like, look, we're standing with Mookie. We're not going to play. And then teams just started canceling and boycotting all across the MLB. So it started a huge ripple effect in the boycotting of sporting events, major league sporting events getting shut down because players wanted to make a statement. And a lot of people, people in the news and talking, well, the players are canceling games, but they don't have a plan. What's your plan of just walking off the court or walking off the field? You don't have a plan to do so. Me, at that point in time, I don't give a damn about a plan. Obviously, yes, you can figure things out and make things happen from there, which the NBA did. They had meetings, sat down with the owners and leadership and figured things out. But at a point in time, they made a statement in refusing to participate in these games because something was taking place in the world that's just much bigger than stepping on the court and dribbling a basketball or taking a baseball field and throwing a ball, trying to hit it with your back. They made the initial statement, which was huge in itself.
Why does there need to be a plan right away? That is the plan. The plan is the strike. Things will come on furthermore. And, the backlash that some people got for NBA canceling and, they don't have a plan. Do you know what that did? NBA stopping. Well, Milwaukee first boycotting whatever, ready to forfeit the game and everything like that. And the ripple effect it did. If there's no NHL, there's no tennis, there's no basketball. One, a lot of money is being lost. A lot of money is being lost. And two, what else is anybody else going to talk about? You can't talk about anything else but Jacob Blake, Black Lives Matter. What are we going to do? What is going to happen? And, prior to all of this thing happening, Kyrie Irving was one who came out and said that, they shouldn't be there because there's a lot of important things that happen. He got, some people agree with him, some people didn't. This happened. This happened furthermore, and the boycott happened. Another thing that came out that Kyrie Irving said that people laughed off was, and we should have their own league. NBA players should have their own league or something like that, and, forget the NBA. It sounds crazy, right? But just think about for 1 second. If basketball players, NBA really said we're going to sacrifice and not play for the NBA next year after this bubble thing until we see some real change in legislative things, whatever. You know how much pressure these owners, because now the owner's going to feel something. The owner's going to be like, okay, we need to start doing something to protect Black lives, or some defunding the police and putting it into other areas so these players can feel like we are supporting them. Otherwise, everything's going to go to shit. Everything's going to go to shit. Luckily on the owner side, you got players who are not well off like everyone else. It could be easy for the all-stars to say, yeah, we're not going to play next year. We're going to sacrifice it. We'll do our own thing, blah, blah, until we demand change. Obviously, not everyone's in that same lifestyle, in that same situation. But already, you can see the power that these players can have. What came about it? Owners had to open up their arenas. They had to open up the arenas for people to come and vote. If you don't, anything that's going on right now, the Republicans, Trump, whatever, trying to do whatever he can to stop these voting stuff from happening. The mailing list, everything like that. I don't need to get political. Do your research. Do whatever you can to stop all of this voting. Open up the arena. Give people a place where they can go out and try to make some change. That's awesome. That's beautiful. To see that NBA players had the power to do something like that is remarkable. And now this is just the start. This could be the start of something where they understand, hey, we can use our platform to really cause change. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Like you said, the plan right away after they boycotted was not necessary. The initial statement was what was needed, and then things happened after that in terms of putting the best foot forward. I think there might be people still out there, questioning, because there's definitely people saying, look, this is going on. People are pissed. Screw the NBA, screw the players. You hear the reports like LeBron and the Lakers and the Clippers, they're ready to just be done with it and not do anything and just not play anymore at all, which I get. Because, what is basketball right now when all of this is happening? I understand that. But in Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, who's, the vice president of the NBA, Players Association, I think that's what it's called. He's the vice president behind Chris Paul, who's the president of the Players Union. Sorry. He said, look, we can all leave the bubble and go home. Obviously, yes. But, is everybody, we're all here together on this platform and can make a statement together here in the bubble. I think what he was trying to maybe allude to is some of you guys may go, if we cancel and end the season, some of you might go home and, there's no longer really a platform. Mm-hmm. Not everybody here is probably going to be ready to go down on the front lines and be out there protesting and whatnot. But we're all together on this platform where we can make big statements. Jaylen Brown made that point, which was huge because, part of me, even before the bubble, during, but do they really? We don't need sports right now. We were saying that for various things, whether the pandemic or the injustices happening. We don't need sports in general. But Jaylen Brown making that point, which is very true. No bubble, no NBA season, and these things were happening. There wouldn't be this platform where we're constantly seeing, the Black Lives Matters all over the floor and T-shirts and whatnot. Players who every time in their press conferences and interviews, they're bringing up these situations, speaking about it on national TV. This is the platform they have, which is something we spoke on the show many times. If you have a platform, you're lucky enough to have a platform, you're able to have a platform, use it. Use it. Marv and I have Double M here, which we're able to speak on things and bring attention and have conversation with you guys who are tuned in. The NBA players have a much bigger platform, which is the NBA, and they're able to do their things that way. That is their platform that, they're continuously trying to use and make statements in various ways.
Yeah. Listen, this is such a unique situation, right? One, never in history were you ever going to get around 250 players in one room talking about in a meeting, 200 essentially in the same place, in the same hotel. No, you get 250 people talking about something. I don't know if you've ever been in meetings, large meetings. Probably the largest meeting I've ever been to, maybe with a staff crew, maybe 20, 25, 30. Not everyone's on the same page. Now you're talking about 250 people with all different various ideas. all wanting something, all tired, all depressed, sick, frustrated, wanting to do more. Emotions are going to get high. There's going to be different ideas. LeBron and the Clippers and Lakers, they wanted out. And I would have supported that 100%. The NBA said, F the playoffs, F basketball. You heard it in George Hill's voice. It's like, yo, we got to be in this damn place. That wasn't someone that's happy to be in the bubble. If the NBA was to stop the playoffs, it would have still made a huge impact. Because now you're telling the world, we're done. We're no longer going to be used for entertainment until we see something happen. And then there's the opposite side. There's so many different avenues. You go back into the 50s, the 60s, the 40s. There was different leaders. MLK, Malcolm X, no, they did not see eye and eye. They didn't have the same views. They had the same goals. Injustice. They want black people to have their rights, to be free to live. But there's obviously going to be different avenues to go about it. Especially on the that tragic happened. It was right after Double M. Right after Double M last week. I watched the Clippers Dallas thing to end my night. Had the TV on, and Doc Rivers was speaking. I saw it live, and I got super emotional watching Doc speak. To the point I had to call my father and just have a conversation with him about what's going on. When you see grown men, and see how it affects them too. People who have all the money in the world, who probably get stopped by police, and the police recognize who they are and probably get a little more leeway in life. But to see how they are affected as well. When Doc said, I should just be a coach, I should just be, as black people, we just don't have. We are not just students. We're not just our profession. We're that and more. And it happens to be a burden to the United States of America, which is wild. So there's no one right way. I hate how, media tried to portray it as, oh, it was LeBron against this, and these guys wanted to leave in it. Oh, obviously, it's emotional. This is emotional. This is not, I keep saying it, this is not normal.
Don't matter your celebrity status. You feeling some kind of pain right now.
Everyone's feeling something. Hurt.
Pissed off.
Pissed.
Angry, upset. All of them.
Players came in here trying to play ball, and then they found out, look, damn, another thing. What are we doing? Why are we playing basketball right now? Probably feel like you're just working for the man. I got my peoples out there dying. Look at me. I'm in the safest place in America playing basketball for entertainment. That probably weighs on you. That weighs on you. And things are not just black and white. And that's how it seemed like this was getting portrayed. Oh, this is black and white. You either got to do this or you got to do that. And that's not how life is.
Yeah, man. Again, like you said, there's no wrong answer in terms of, players sitting in a room wanting to play anymore because you want to make a statement that basketball doesn't mean anything, whether it's wanting to keep playing because you want to use the platform. You have to speak on things. I can see both sides of, it's not really an argument, but I can see both sides of the situation.
Shout out to the NBA, man. Like, NBA just I'm proud of the players. Like, I know them. Like, yeah. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud.
Yeah. I don't know if there's another league that can duplicate what the NBA has done. Baseball is trying. The fact that MLB postponed it, I was shocked that they did that. I was very shocked that the MLB went that route. But they have prominent black players in that league who are willing to speak up and say what's wrong. Mookie Betts is a big time player that people look to. You know, can't name all the players right now. I don't know all the names, but they got players who are speaking out. And I guarantee you, if the NFL was taking place right now, you bet your ass that there's some I don't know if they postpone games or cancel a Sunday afternoon football game, but I guarantee you, I feel as if some players wouldn't have played. I don't know if the NFL is there yet where they can cancel games.
NBA
would cancel games because of things happening. I don't know if the NFL is there yet. Like I said, MLB shocked me. I don't know if the NFL's there. NHL, they didn't cancel any games, I don't believe. NFL's there. NHL, they didn't cancel any games, I don't believe. But their bubble's also in Canada. Whatever you want to talk about with that. If there is going to be a league taking place, how can the league use their platform to bring knowledge and put a spotlight on what's happening in the world?
Yeah, and it's up to the players in the NFL to really put pressure on their superiors.
NFL is going to be interesting. Just like the NBA, the NFL is made up of majority black players. And I see the NFL, Goodell comes out with different statements.
And this time, the face of the NFL, so we brought this up, and this is going to get more important as the years go by. The face of the NFL is a black man, and Patrick Mahomes. And right next to him is the MVP, Lamar Jackson. Like, it's different now. And NFL has no choice but to listen. And since everything that's been going on, I love that Patrick Mahomes has been speaking up, has been talking, because every time Patrick Mahomes speaks, he puts pressure on that. Imagine Patrick Mahomes came out and said, I consider not playing.
Screwing with the NFL and money and everything. Big time. Big time.
We see with LeBron. Imagine if Patrick Mahomes were to come out and say, I consider it. Yes, if this continued injustice that's going on in America, they don't want to listen to it. I consider not playing the game. Oh my God. NBA is one thing. NBA has a huge platform. It's one of the greatest sports, everything like that.
Yeah.
Mahomes says something like that, it's going to make heads. It's going to turn heads. It's going to make airwaves. So NFL needs to really, Roger Goodell needs to listen. He needs to see what the NBA is doing, seek advice, and we'll see what they do.
It's gonna be interesting when the NFL actually starts, and not saying they're hoping that the next situation or somebody gets shot or something. Let's see how the NFL reacts, because I'm not wishing that happens at all. But conversation needs to continue. Actions take place, and let's see how the NFL plays a role with the NBA putting pressures on the owners to do things like open up their arena together or something like that.
That just shows you that the NFL doesn't want to go there. It's too much for them to go there. It's too much.
Yeah, something like that. But we'll see. Again, if these prominent players put pressure on the NFL, it's going to force their hand, just like we've seen with the NBA. So it's going to be interesting. If you're on the IG with us, I see the time is running out. We come right back. Stay with us. Double M still going for sure.
We're all in this together.
Something like that.
I didn't read that, but that just got me really upset.
It's something like that.
If you're not going to put what's really going on with Black Lives Matter, don't give us no BS. Just don't put nothing at all. You either go full in, or you don't do anything at all. I don't see any NHL trying to pretend to put Black Lives Matter on the. I'm gonna
look it up. I'm gonna look it up. It's something like where I forgot. I'll look it up.
That just got me mad. All in this together. What's this?
It might not be that. It might not be that. I made that up.
It got me tight.
Something like that. But I'm gonna look it up and see. Let's get back to the live here on IG.
Yeah, just to wrap up this last topic here with the NBA. Like this is brand new. This just happened this past week. This whole boycott thing and asking for change. I'm expecting more things that the NBA is going to come out and do. I'm expecting to see more from the players demanding more, and I'm excited for it. Like I'm proud, man. I'm super proud of the efforts that these young black men are doing. I don't know if the NBA is doing this 15 years ago. If the climate is the same, I don't know if they're as progressive as they are right now. And just to see that black men are really, taking the lead and being the catalyst of this movement, who would have thought? 50, 40, 60 years ago, it wasn't sport athletes, on the front lines because they didn't have the platforms and such. You had the Muhammad Ali's, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. Now you have hundreds of players speaking up locally, nationally, leading the CNN and MSNBC headlines due to what's going on right now. So even if you don't watch sports, you know exactly what's happening. So I love to see it.
I just got the article here. So in the end zones, they're stenciling in "End Racism," and it takes all of us.
Okay.
Not we're all in this together.
Okay.
I made that. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I was just trying to think about what it was.
End racism.
End racism, and it takes all of us. That's what they're going to be stenciling in their end zone for this upcoming season.
All right. Their PR can stay. Their PR can stay.
So, hey, it's something. They're trying something. And, more is probably going to be asked of them. Again, if the players put pressure on the owners and Goodell and whatnot, we'll see how they handle it from there. But
I will love, man. And NFL's so lenient with the touchdown celebrations. I love to see what teams will do during these touchdown celebrations. You want to make a mark. You see what touchdown celebrations do. They go all over Instagram. They go all over Twitter. When some big social media dance happen, it's everywhere. That's what you see. You probably see more touchdown celebrations than you see the plays. Use that time. Use that 10, 15 seconds to display something.
I know
that'd be
huge.
So throughout the whole year, whether it's taking a knee as a team or fist up or doing some type of display, or maybe you have a shirt and it has, Breonna Taylor's name or something. Use that 10 seconds when all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Do something special. I wish Double M had a bigger platform. We will in a couple years. But if they could hear us right now, when you are about to celebrate a touchdown, use that platform. Right there, you have the world in your hands. It's going to go viral all the time. Sundays, no one's doing anything on Sunday. They're watching you. Speak up.
One thing that I would love to see these players and athletes do with a bigger platform. They're always coming off, in interviews and whatnot, saying, man, we want to arrest the officers that killed Breonna Taylor, arrest officers that murdered Breonna Taylor. And would it make a difference, say their names. Yes, say their names so people understand and know who they're talking about. Do you think it would make a difference or mean much more if they'd say arrest officers, whatever their names are, that killed that murdered Breonna Taylor.
Using the names of
the names of the officers.
Definitely.
We're making a statement.
Now,
arrest officers Dunna and Dunna who murdered Breonna Taylor.
Right.
That's something I wish I'd see happen. I don't not part of it's like, oh, I don't want to give their names, limelight or whatever, but maybe you put the names of these officers out there, you put them in the limelight too, in a way that these are the officers that did this.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree.
Imagine an NFL player scoring a touchdown and they go into the camera and they say, arrest officer, whatever your name is, who killed Breonna Taylor.
It's huge. Something I seen Jalen do that would love for more players to do too is when you click on this social media in your bio, have a link to something that has to do with the Black Lives Matter movement, whether it's the donations link or whether it's an info box or infomercial or this is how to help or this things like that. We're going to go to your social medias at all time, and just having something there where you can point at and say this is what we can all do to help. I think that'd go a long way. I'm not saying that some don't, because I know some players are doing it, but as a unison, that would be great.
Big time. That's huge. People clicking these players' names and IGs and Instagram. Twitters and whatnot. You got your name and a link to something that helps directly the cause. That's huge. That is absolutely huge.
Yeah, man. Let's move on to our next topic here on a Tuesday night. Like we said, we just went live right after the Celtics have now gone they're 6-0 in the bubble, 2-0 against the Toronto Raptors. I can easily tell you I did not see the Celtics going 2-0, not in Toronto, quote unquote. But yeah, I didn't see them going 2-0 and in the fashion in both ways that they went 2-0. First game, blew them out the water. Thought it was just a regular bubble game. This game, a hard-fought game where you had a hero, Marcus Smart, once again, doing Marcus Smart things. And Marcus Smart things the unexpected. And he dropped, 16 points in the fourth quarter? 14 of them were like back-to-back threes.
5 threes in a row, something like that.
And in a game where Toronto had you beat, it looked like. And so 2-0 against the Toronto Raptors. These are looking pretty good, Mike. Nice. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, coming into the series, I figured the Raptors would give the Celtics some trouble. They didn't say the Celtics. They'd give it the Raptors. The Raptors would give the Celtics enough trouble to see them eliminated by the Raptors, but I just didn't see it as an easy series for the Celtics. I think overall, Celtics have the better players in terms of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, but I felt as if the Toronto Raptors had a better team in terms of depth, in terms of turning to their bench and being able to call upon guys to step up and produce. I figured that the Raptors had more depth. And what we've seen from these two games is, in the first game, the players, like I just spoke about, went off and did their thing, along with the Celtics playing solid defense, Raptors not making shots. But those three players who I thought are, at the top in terms of players in this series, they went off and did their thing. Second game, the Raptors had players step up. Serge Ibaka stepped up huge. OG Anunoby stepped up huge. And he's not their top players. Their top players are Siakam, Kyle Lowry, and then Fred VanVleet.
Come on, bro. Put some respect on
Fred VanVleet. Raptors, those are their top guys. And Raptors hung around that game, not off of the backs of VanVleet. He did have about 19 points. I don't know how. But he didn't really dominate the game. Lowry didn't really dominate the game. Siakam really didn't dominate the game. But they still hung around because Anunoby and Ibaka and some of these other guys stepped up. So they showed their depth. But Celtics still found a way. Again, I didn't know if it happened in the series. Celtics going up 2-0. I did not see a blowout happen like Game 1 looked like. There's people on, these four series is over. I don't know if I'd go that far yet. But I tell you this, man, it's the Raptors are going to, unless the Raptors are really clicking, all those guys are clicking, which so far they haven't been, they're going to struggle to beat the Celtics because they just can't match the firepower of Tatum, Brown, and Kemba. Kemba went off late. Smart stepped up out of nowhere and won that game for them.
It was the game Raptors couldn't lose.
The Raptors shouldn't have lost that game. Tatum was going off, into the free throw line. I think Brown pitched in with like 18, 19 points. Kemba was struggling. Smart had one good quarter, but for the most part was sucking that whole game. Yeah. Raptors even ended at the end of the third quarter. When Celtics struggled bad in the third quarter, and the end of the third quarter, they only had an 8-point lead. I said, I don't know how the Celtics are only down by 8. They were missing a whole bunch of shots, turning the ball over, but somehow we're only down by 8 points. And Raptors couldn't take advantage of that. The fourth quarter happened. Smart goes off. Kemba gets a couple of buckets. Tatum and Brown pitching in here and there. I don't know if the Raptors can match the firepower when those three guys are clicking, and then if Smart's going to pitch in with a good 16, 15 points, it's going to be tough for the Raptors.
Raptors are sitting there like, okay, if Tatum's getting 30 and we just have Kemba have struggled, we can lock down Kemba and having a crazy game, we should be able to win. They didn't expect two things. An explosion from Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was an explosion. It wasn't like, oh, Marcus had a couple of buckets. He went off. He went off. And then the beginning of the game where you knew Raptors were going to make a run. They made a run, but the reason it wasn't as impactful, Robert Williams came and gave the Celtics great minutes in the first quarter to keep the Celtics around.
Big time.
And the fact that the Celtics were just always around, they were able to break loose. That's why the third quarter, they didn't get blown out. That's crazy. Because Robert Williams, that first quarter, kept them around. Hasn't missed a shot against the Toronto Raptors to shoot. So Mike's always talking about who's going to be that guy outside of the three. Tonight, it was Smart and Robert Williams. Some games it's tight. Some games it might be Kenta. Kenta don't look like he's going to play in this game. Game 1, Wanamaker looked pretty good. The bench is not great. We understand that. We understand that your 3 stars are going to have to be great. But on the night when they weren't, Tatum luckily had 30-something points, very effective, went to the line, something we need to talk about more because he's starting to. But when the night when all 3 weren't on point, Marcus Smart was the guy. And that's two games in a row where he's done decent. And granted, way too many turnovers from him, which he does a lot. He turns the ball over a lot. And, sometimes you just don't want Kemba being the only primary ball handler.
That's what Miss Hayward.
That's where you do miss Hayward. But then again, Hayward's not going to get an explosion of 5 threes in a row out of nowhere, which I probably would have said the same thing if it was Hayward. I'm like, Marcus Smart's not going to get an explosion. Yeah. But Marcus has provided some great minutes, clutch defense as always, and you're not winning a championship without Marcus Smart on this team.
Big time. Facts.
He's as frustrating as he is. He's the catalyst. And the more I think about it, Mike, in the NBA, is there any big 3 better than the Celtics' big 3?
Tatum, Brown, Kemba. They can all no. There's no other team
the only team I can think of
like that.
The only thing the only argument I think is acceptable is Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
Sure. I mean, they got hardware behind them. 2 of those pieces of hardware, you could take Draymond's name out of that equation. But
so if you take Draymond off, is there any team in the NBA that has a better big 3?
No, because I can't even think of other teams that have a big 3 in a sense, other than the Warriors. No team really has a big three.
And that's the Celtics' biggest advantage. And it's not a slight advantage. It's a huge advantage.
Damn near a big 3.5. Because when Hayward's on his game,
right,
you're talking about three guys who average 20 points off the course of the season, and Hayward is right there averaging 17.
Exactly.
And that's only because he probably does not get the amount of looks that those guys are getting. But 17 points is still a lot. Three people with 20 points a game and 17 points, that's crazy.
They have a big three, and the third one's a rotation. There's a rotation.
Like, any night, three of them can get 20 light.
And that's a huge advantage that the Celtics have against any team in the NBA, especially in the bubble. We can look at the Clippers. We can look at the Lakers. They have fantastic tools, great 1-2 punches. But you're talking about LeBron, AD, and who's their third best? Kuz?
Who's off and on?
KCP?
Hell no.
Clippers, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Lou Will.
That's not bad. Lou Will is pretty damn good.
I'll take the Celtics big three over that. Kemba over Lou Will.
Multiple time All-Star or multiple time Sixth Man of the Year?
I'll take Kemba. There's one sixth man who's an all-star starter.
True. Yeah, man. I mean, I honestly can truly believe with the right moves.
I'm not saying Celtics better than the Clippers, by the way.
I hear you. Part of the reason why you're not saying that is because the Clippers have a better team all around than the Celtics.
That's why they're the favorite, though.
So that's what I'm saying. I firmly believe Celtics. Obviously, the season's gonna go however it's gonna go, but I firmly believe the Celtics are a few pieces and moves away from having the NBA's next dynasty.
And that's where I disagree.
I think they put the right players around. Okay, you got another maybe 3 good years out of Kemba. He's on 30. Hayward, if he sticks around another year or two, you got a couple years out of it. Jalen and Tatum going to be there.
Right.
Depending on what Danny Ainge puts around these guys.
And this is something that I had to really think about. Because it's easy to say. But once Tatum gets that money, and Tatum's going to get paid. We were just talking about these guys will get paid. Once Tatum gets that money, it's over for the Celtics. They will have no money.
Because they are paying Tatum and Brown.
You got Tatum, Brown. You still got Kemba's contract as well. And Kemba's a super deal. And then Hayward's good. Hayward, doesn't matter what happens, you can't get that money back.
He's gonna be on the books next year for $30 million because he's gonna opt in.
Celtics, and that's a factor I didn't think about until I think it was today. Once Tatum gets paid, Celtics are going to have to hit on every little tiny free agency type, because these guys are going to get these are long-term contracts. You're going to give Tatum the supermax. Kemba is getting a lot of money.
They had a similar situation with the big Celtics big three in a sense.
Right.
Even that year they put the three together. They have to bring the Posies and Eddie Houses of the world in on very small, not a lot of money type deals.
And the NBA didn't look like what the NBA looks now. So here's my hot take. This is Celtics' greatest window right now in the next 3 to 5 years.
Sure.
To win a championship. Due to the fact, one, like I just mentioned, once Tatum gets paid, it's hard now, but it's going to get really hard to build a great team, like you said, a dynasty type team. That's going to be very difficult. That's one. 2, we mentioned it before. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are coming. You got the Brooklyn Nets. As great as Tatum is, bro, and stuff. Kevin Durant's a beast. We know what he can do, and we know when Kyrie is on and he's got his head on right, we know what he can do. So you got that. Then the Clippers aren't going nowhere. That's another year in their belt, a couple years that they're going to be playing together anywhere, a couple years together that they're going to gel. Like, you got teams.
Celtics got the youth on their side.
They got youth on the side, but Giannis, say what you will about Giannis. Do you think this is Giannis's final product? I think Giannis is gonna get better. He's still
got another level Super Saiyan.
I think Giannis can get better. He could definitely develop a mid-range jump shot. Like, this is not the best version of Giannis. It's not the best version of Luka. Luka's gonna get better. Teams are going to get better. When you talk about a window for the Celtics to win a championship, I don't think there's a greater window than this year.
So you said they got like 3 to 5 years max to try to get a championship.
I said in the 3 to 5. Let's use a 3 to 5 year window for right now, because we don't know the future, who injuries, what Kappa Kemba and all that.
5 year window.
5 year window.
They got to be in the finals at least 3, maybe 4 of those years.
I don't think that's possible.
I think it's possible in the East.
You think this team can get to the finals 3 out of 4 times?
3, maybe 4's pushing mid 4, but you give them 5. Celtics should be in the finals in the next maybe 3 or 5 years. 3 out of the next 5 years, they should at least be there 3 times. And again, I believe.
That's very optimistic.
I be on the fence with Danny Ainge all the time, but it's just all about what pieces you put around these guys. What kind of deals you go after? No more this rookies. No more this going internationally and see what kind of gems you can maybe try to find. Look, next year for sure you're gonna have Tatum, Brown, Hayward, Kemba again, and Smart. The year after that, you for sure gonna have Tatum, Brown, and Kemba, depending on if Hayward, signs an extension for a low amount of money, whatever. You're gonna have the big 3 for at least the next 2 years, for sure. Depending on what kind of small deals Danny Ainge can get with, maybe aging players or players who just trying to get on a roster who are somewhat vets. What kind of deal? Depending on the team you can construct, knowing that you're going to be led by Tatum, Brown, and Kemba, who are already shown they can kind of take the league in these games and whatnot by storm, who in 3 to 5 years are only going to be like 24, 25 years old. They got to see the NBA. Yes, I know John is still going to be there. I know Durant and Kyrie still going to. I know that. I think
3 times in the finals is a lot, Mike.
In 5 years?
That's a lot. One, you got to guarantee. If for your prediction to be right, you got to guarantee they go to the finals this year. Like, that has to be a must. If we both agree that this is the greatest window. And 2, this just reminds me so much of 2012, when OKC Thunder, there was everything aligned perfectly for OKC. There was injuries in the West. They got on hot. They got on fire. They went to the finals, and everyone anointed them. Boom, this is it. This is the dynasty for the upcoming years. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. They never went back. The 3 years after, they never went back. Whether it was injuries, team, someone knocked them up, other team got better. Golden State, a team that came out of nowhere, started to become the empire. Like, this is the Donovan Mitchell. This is the time right now. You got to take advantage of these moments, because the NBA moves quick. It moves quick. In 3 to 5 years, you don't know what's going to happen. Look at the Celtics 3 years ago compared to now. It's a completely different team. So you have to try to find a way to win now. It would be amazing, or get to the finals now. It would be amazing for 22-year-old, the 23-year-old Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum to be in the finals right now. And then we could try to think about big picture and see if they can make it to the finals and pieces and what pieces Danny Ainge can add. But it goes quick. I've seen it with the OKC Thunder team. That was the next anointed team.
I have more faith in this Celtics organization to not be similar to the OKC Thunder situation. Brad Stevens, in my belief, is top 5 coach. Who was coaching the freaking OKC? Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks was whatever, but that team was talent. Sometimes there's a coach that just has plenty of talent. Sometimes Brad Stevens has made some teams go pretty damn far that should have had no business being in some positions. And I think last year, he got talent finally, and that talent situation smacked him in the face, and he said, "Oh, okay, this is how it goes in the NBA." And he got a reality check when you got talent. Luckily, the talent that he has right now is kind of homegrown and manifested, where he has a little more control on how it plays out. But the fact that this current Celtics era of Tatum, Brown, and Kemba, in a sense, they should be among the NBA elite for the next several years. Whether that's championship or just, hopefully championship, but just being a top team in the NBA, constantly making the playoffs.
Starting next season, Celtics are going to be just like they were the year prior when you had Kyrie. The same talks with the Celtics.
The expectations will be back.
The same expect. No matter what happens from here on out in the bubble, no matter what happens from here on out, the next year, there's going to be everyone on the Celtics saying Celtics are going to the finals, or they're going to be a finalist. Just like when we had Horford, Kyrie. Do you remember that horrific picture of that starting five that didn't become anything? That's going to be due to a couple reasons. Proving it right now in the bubble. Tatum, you expect him to take another, which is scary. You expect him to take another leap. Jaylen Brown, you expect him to be an all-star this year, to make that stand in all-star. Kemba, you know what you're getting out of him. And then whatever you construct around the team. So Celtics are going to be in that realm of, okay, we're back to expecting championships from you guys. This year, no expectation wasn't championships. Next year is going to start.
It's Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge. You had a championship team last year, Brad Stevens. Didn't work out. I don't care what anyone says. That was a championship team.
You're right.
It didn't work. That was the most talented team I've ever seen the Celtics had. Yo, that team was talented. So
it remains to be seen, man. But we're staying optimistic about the Celtics. We believe the future is very bright. The future is very bright for the Celtics, as long as Danny Ainge does what he needs to do to put a solid team together.
We're in a good position. We're in a very good position.
Yeah, man. Woo! This show's been rocking. We almost on an hour and a half, man.
Yeah, I feel like we've been doing that a while now.
Yeah, because the conversation is just plenty. Fortunately, YouTube has been shaky, so I know we couldn't get the comments popping in there like we usually do because of YouTube's shaky connection here. But we've had
seen that comment today.
Yeah, we've had some comments come in on Facebook, I believe IG a little bit, but like we always say, this show, Marv and I definitely hold it down, but with you guys tuned in, you guys are what really makes the show for sure, when we are able to comment and interact with you guys, for sure. So, hey, man, any last words, Marv? We wrap things up here.
Nah, man, another great double F show. As you can see, every week something happens, and we'll try to be on top of things here. Just appreciate everyone's support, everyone's patience, and we're praying for better times.
Always, definitely. Shout out to you guys. It's been a great night here on Double M. Stay safe. Enjoy your nights, weeks, Labor Day weekend. Be safe out there.
Oh, yes.
Enjoy.
Fantasy football time.
Oh, boy. Y'all going to see a stressed guy on these shows coming up soon.